Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, we get to talk about who won the bold prediction show now. I know you didn't want to talk about it after the game on Saturday, but this is the show where we talk about who won the bold predictions for last week. Tony, do you know who won the bold predictions for last week?
Tom, we don't talk about who won last week. We talk about our bold predictions for this week.
I have a feeling the listeners know who won for last week now.
I don't know, Tom. I don't really keep score with these sort of things. I just like to let things fly and just let it happen and just try to have fun. It's about having fun. It's not about keeping score, Tom. This is, you know what? You are a youth coach. You should know that it is about the fun. It's never about keeping score. Shame on you, Tom. Shame on you.
My first bold prediction for the week is now the listeners definitely know who won last week.
You know what, Tom? Even knowing, you won, but I knew, I looked at my bold predictions and I said, you know what? Tom's going to win this week. And based on our track records, if that's not the boldest prediction we've ever had on this show, I don't know what is.
Yes, as always, you are the hero of your own story. Some things never change on this show. Let's go through the picks from last week real quickly.
Very quickly.
So I can, so that I may wallow in my own crapulence, as a great man once said. Number one, TreVeyon Henderson has at least 94 yards from scrimmage. He'd only done that once previous in the season. He had 169. Nice. That's one. Ronnie Hickman has been either first or second on the team in tackles in 4 or 5 games. He does not do that this week. You were about to say, no, the 3 guys tied for first. I said he's going to be lower than second on the list. There were 3 people ahead of him. If you look at any golf tournament, if 3 people are tied for second, the person below them is not third, the person below them is fifth. Boom, lawyered. There's 2. Number 3, Team Jarrett has a play scrimmage of 41 yards or longer, only had 1 so far in the season. Well, now he has 2. He had a play of 43 yards from scrimmage. Missed the one on Ohio State, rushing for 6.6 yards per carry. It was only 5.0. And Ohio State only had 166 rushing yards, so I did not hit the 222 thing. And then we were talking before the show. I had a bunch of possible 2-pointers written down, and we discussed them all, but I don't remember which one we actually went with. One of them was 2 receivers with more than 100 yards and a 100-yard rusher. That was the longest combination of, rushing and receiving together in the same game, the longest since it had happened. It did happen, but I don't know if that's the one I used officially. And Tony, I'm not about running up the score. I'm going to whomp you just with the 3 that I've got already. I'm not even going to worry about these last couple. The other one was Ohio State scores in a trick play. They did not. But that's okay, Tony, because I believe you only got 1. Which was your one? What was your one moment of glory last week?
First, let's talk about Ronnie Hickman, who finished second on the team with the second most tackles on the team.
How many people had more than him?
There was only one number higher than his, Tom. 7 was the high.
How many people had more than him?
This isn't about numbers, Tom. This is about total tackles.
Yeah, okay. So that's 3 for me. And your one, what was your one crowning moment of glory last week?
My one crowning moment of glory was that Ohio State will double Maryland's yards per play through the first 3 quarters. And they did that just barely. And do you remember that when that stinking Raheem Jarrett play happened? I think that made it within 1/10 of a point of me getting an offer on this one. So I missed everything else wildly, which I knew I would. Although Garrett Wilson, we agreed to a play of scrimmage for 41 yards. Garrett Wilson's touchdown, I think, they had a 38-yard play and a 29-yard play. And we don't need to spend any more time on that, Tom, because now do we have if only we had the totals of the first half of the season, but I know you don't want to get into that. Do you, sir?
I had another one down here that I know is right, but I'm almost positive I didn't use, that Ohio State allows more than 236 passing yards, which only happened once this season. I'm pretty sure that was one that we discarded as maybe not quite bold enough. They did that as well. So
yes, we did discard a lot of your bold predictions as not bold enough. Tom, look at you. You're so angry right now.
The smile on my face, that tracks as anger to you. This is my look of triumph. Now, you may not have seen it much, so get used to it, because the second half of the season is coming.
That's right. That's why I look so unnerving, because I don't see it a lot. So yes, we are now going to have some second half of the season bold predictions. And certainly these things we won't know how many Tom missed until later on in the season. We'll have a pretty good idea. But so we're going to, same rules apply. 5 bold predictions, a 2-pointer, and a 3-pointer. And Tom, did you go last week?
I don't remember, but
I think you did.
I'll let you go first. That's fine.
My first bold prediction, and I think we both agree that it's very bold. Emeka Egbuka will have a kickoff return for a touchdown this year.
So we were talking before the show, and I said to Tony, he said, I said I was looking for one for Emeka Egbuka, and I think I had found a good one. He's like, I think I found a good one. It was like, I bet this is going to be the same one. So Tony, Emeka Egbuka has a kick return touchdown for the first time for a Buckeye since 2010.
That's what I just said. Yes.
Yeah. So good news. I mean, I guess we're not going to argue that the other one is insufficiently bold. So good. We're either 1 for 1 or 0 for 1, both together. Great.
Now, do we have to narrow it down some, like a Final Four, like a March Madness bracket? We have to pick the final score of the championship game. I will say somewhere between 99 yards and 90. What about you?
99 and 90.
You can't have those 99. You can't have those 10 yards because I went first. So you have to.
I think you can pick a 5-yard increment. You can pick a 5-yard increment. You pick one, and then I'll pick 2, and then you can pick another one.
Okay, I will say 100 to 96.
Okay, 100 to 96. Okay, I will go from 95 down to 85, and you can have 84 to 80. Well, you were doing this in a snake draft. Yes. You got the first pick. This is how this works. So I have 95 to 85, and you have 96 to 100, and presumably you want 84 to 80. Presumably that would be what you would want.
No, because I'm thinking he might return an onside kick. So give me, you know what? Give me from the Ohio State 40 to the end zone, to the opposing end zone. Just give me those 60 yards, or give me
It seems like you pretty much only get a 5-yard block, but if you want to take the 5 yards where he's going to be standing, then
yeah, exactly. Wherever that is going to be recovered, there at the 45 of the opponent, somewhere between the 45, the 48 and the 43 of the opponent's field position.
Returning an onside kick for a touchdown is like, I think I've seen that like twice in all of the years I've watched college football. So if Emeka Egbuka in particular does that, I will award you 2 points.
Now, you know what? I'm going to take the 89 to the 85. Is that where we are now? Is that
no? You get the 84 to 81, 84 or 84 to 80.
84 to 80. Okay, there could be a bit of a pooch, so I'll go ahead and take that. So right. Okay, we've got those 20 yards covered. That was an ordeal, but it's okay. Do I go again now since you?
Sure, you go. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we've both done our first one. You go ahead.
And I know you're probably not even going to like this, even though it has never happened in school history, in Ohio State history ever. And it is 50% more than has ever happened in Ohio State football history. The Buckeyes will have 3 1,000-yard receivers this year.
Tony, only 5 players in Ohio State history have had more than 1,000 yards receiving in a single season. Wilson, Olave, and Jackson Smith and Jigba all do it this season. Tony, I think we've been doing these shows too long now. No, I was awarding myself multiple points for that one because that does feel sufficiently bold because...
Oh, really? Okay.
Here's why I think that's more than 1 point. Number one, they're not all necessarily on track to do it this year. It's close. The on pace is close, but you're relying on all 3 guys to stay healthy. You're relying on the passing game to not be impacted by the weather later in the season. There's a lot of factors there. I think, predicting big passing numbers is a little more bold than it might seem just because the conditions are going to get a little less good as the season moves along. So, and the competition's getting a little bit better.
I think that is very typical of me to think this is just a regular bold and for you to think, no, this is a super bold. This is a bonus point bold. I think we've had that same kind of argument throughout the course of this season where let's just be frank, bolder in 90 to 95% of my predictions. This being another one where I only have this as a 1-pointer. Do you want to make it a 2-pointer? Do you want to make it a 3-pointer?
Well, since it's for both of us, I think we make it a 17-pointer, and then at the end of the season we can go, wow, look at all. I mean, we are remarkable at how bold we are.
That is good.
I won't argue if you want to make it 1 or make it 3, because again, we have the same prediction. So
I'm thinking, no, I'm just going to keep it 1 for myself. You go ahead and make it a bonus for you, because I don't want to bring one of my tougher bonuses into the 1-pointers, but also no, I will not let you have a bonus if I'm only going to make this 1. But I guess I can go ahead and make this a bonus, because I did move one of my regular picks down to a bonus. I can move that one back up and take some of the boldness off of it, maybe cool it down a little. And so is this a 2-pointer or is this a 3-pointer?
We could do this as a 2-pointer.
Okay. All right. That's all right. Okay. That is fine by me.
All right. I'm going to go first this time because I'm tired of you stealing my stuff before I get to do it. All right. TreVeyon Henderson, currently on pace to finish just short of Maurice Claret's 1,237 yards at the end of the regular season. Mm-hmm. He not only beats that by the end of the regular season, he also beats it by 200 yards, 1,437 yards for TreVeyon Henderson rushing, but by the end of the regular season.
So you're saying 1,237 yards by the end of the regular season?
I'm saying 1,437 yards by the end of the regular season. He beats it by 200 yards.
Okay. I am okay with that. Now you're talking, he's already got 607 yards rushing. We have 6 games left. So you're saying 800 yards over the next 830 yards. No, 14. Yes. So 837 yards over the next 6 games, roughly, 100 and some yards per game. I accept that because Tom, my TreVeyon Henderson bold prediction is that he will finish the season, the entire season, with at least 1,607 yards rushing, which would be 1,000 more than he has now. So I'm saying over the second half of this season, he's going to rush for 1,000 yards.
So what is your actual number?
1,607 at least.
So that would just be 80 yards. If Ohio State plays 2 games after the regular season, you're only asking him to rush for 80 yards in those 2 games. And there's a possibility they play 3 games. So I therefore deem that insufficiently bold. I think you have to scale up my number if you want to go from 1,437. I think what did you decide my number was per game? 100 and something yards per game?
Yes, exactly. 100 and something. That's what I said.
100 and something yards per game. I think I'm going to need at least 100 and something yards per game from you for those last 3.
1,000 yards over 9 games is actually 100 and something.
Yeah, 100 and something. Yes. All right. And now comes the exciting portion of the program where I break out my calculator app. Yes.
1,437.
Mm-hmm. See, I think what you got to do is you figure out the yards per game, and then you tack on. I'm going to say tack on 2 games worth of that, because then if they make the national championship game, you've got one for free.
Okay, so you want me? So this is calling for him to average 111 yards per game rushing, and I admit that's not super bold, but I'm also predicting them to make the national championship game, so that has some inherent boldness as well. They've only done it twice in school history. So what do you think, Tom? 111 yards, yes, but also making the playoffs and making the national championship game.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to say 1,437 yards.
Okay, in the regular season.
So you're going to predict him to have 100. You want 111 yards per game plus those 3. So that'd be 1,437 plus 333.
Okay, is that what you want? So
that's fine. So that will give you 1,770 yards.
Let's do it. I'll lock me in. That's a lot.
That is very bold. Now he could pop off a couple 200-yard games and then you can get away with it in 14 games. I don't think he gets to like the Eddie George number, which is 1927, or the J.K. Dobbins number, which is 2003. But 1,700 over the course of the season. That's why I did this as just regular season only. Because after that, it's like, if they have three games, you could get, you can lower that average number a little bit. But yeah, that's good. I like that one.
Or it could be like Ezekiel Elliott rushed for 700 yards, 696 yards in those 3 games.
And if he does that, I think if he does that, I suspect that they will, in fact, go to the national championship game and possibly have a pretty good national championship game to boot.
We could see him, TreVeyon Henderson, do what Trey Sermon did and get like that 333 in one game in the Big Ten title game. So, okay. So what is that? 1,700 and
70.
70. Okay. All right. Okay. That's a fair negotiation. All right. What do you got?
TreVeyon Henderson currently has 9 touchdowns rushing. He at least ties Keith Byers for third place all time with 23 rushing touchdowns this season.
So 14 over the next whatever games.
Yes, 14 over the next whatever games. Yes.
I think because you gave me a hard time on this one, I need at least 15 over the next whatever games.
So then he's ties. That would mean he ties. I think I'll pull it up. I believe he would be tying.
Now we're getting to the portion of the show where we just like argue because we don't have the exact same.
Yes. Yeah. So now everything that I say is going to be insufficiently bold because it's not exactly what you said.
Right. I think yes, that is correct.
All right, I will take 24 touchdowns for the season.
24.
That's fine, and that's because Pete Griffin has the
Pete Johnson.
Sorry, Pete Johnson. Yeah. Who was the Griffin kid that was running back for Ohio State? I always forget. Yeah. Pete Johnson, 25 in 1975. Eddie George, 24 in 1995. And then Ezekiel Elliott, third with 23. So, all right, I will bump that up to, I said Keith Byers with 23. Now I'm wondering if I meant 22.
You know what? I'll give you 23. Okay. It's not like we're going to come back and look at this.
I'm going to leave myself a note in my phone. Go back and look at this and only mention it to Tony if you win.
Right. Go back and look at it. Just don't tell anybody.
Okay.
Okay.
So he at least ties Ezekiel Elliott for third place all time with 23 rushing touchdowns this season.
All right. I will allow that. I think that's, you're calling for him to do more than he's already done. He's already done quite a bit. Although we do know he is going to get the ball a lot more moving forward. So I prefer like 16, but whatever. We'll just leave it there because, as I said, I'm not going to go back and look. Here's my next one, Tom. I should make this a bonus point one, but it is what it is. The Ohio State Bullets will have more touchdowns over the rest of the season than the Ohio State tight ends minus Jeremy Ruckert. So Ronnie Hickman and say Craig Young will have more touchdowns than all of the other tight ends, Cade Stover, Mitch Rossi, Joe Royer, G. Scott. Shoot, I forgot about G. Scott. And Sam Hart.
When you said the Ohio State Bullets, I thought you meant just the silver bullets, like the defense on the whole. I'm like, that's not like, okay, the Bullets, and we're going to define our terms. Ronnie Hickman and Craig Young
and Court Williams. You got to give me Court Williams
and Court Williams. Okay, and Court Williams. Those 3 players will have more touchdowns, not the same number. No, as many as more touchdowns than
as many or more.
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's written as more.
Yeah. Yes.
Dang it. I'm a victim of my own writing.
What a bold prediction. Ohio State won't throw the ball to the tight end. Oh, wow. Tony, you're going crazy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is a great one. That is a really good one because there will be some random moment when, and are we counting Mitch Rossi as a tight end?
Well, he prefers to be called a fullback.
Well, but then he said you can do, whatever people won't prefer. And I prefer to call him a tight end. So
if you already listened, I did include
okay.
It. So
I try not to listen to you, but that's fine. All right. So all the tight ends except for Jeremy Ruckert. And if Donovan Jackson is in the backfield as a tight end, no,
that's he's wearing a fullback number. Also, if G. Scott is split out, then he's a wide receiver.
No, that's definitely not true. It says tight end. It says tight end right on the roster. Okay, good. That is a great one. I will allow that one.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Number, was this 5 for me now?
I think so.
TreVeyon Henderson tops Eddie George's 314 yards in a single game this season. I'm not necessarily calling for him to break the school record that Trey Sermon set, but he does break Eddie George's old school record of 314 yards in a single game this season.
I like it anytime you're going to break. And I still consider the 314-yard game or the Eddie George game is bigger to me than the Trey Sermon thing, because Trey Sermon was a carpetbagger. Let's be honest. He just came here to make his money and whatever. Do you have any inkling? I'm looking and Purdue is one of the top defenses in the country, but are they?
Yeah, I don't.
Ohio State has to score as well, like they have to give up some points.
Ohio State has to give up some points, and they have to. Nebraska's not a bad possibility. You'd think like fast track somewhere. If it's somehow someone other than Iowa and Indianapolis, like maybe, but if they get Oklahoma in a semifinal game, like I could see that. And Michigan State, is Michigan State scoring enough that TreVeyon Henderson is playing the whole game, and you're trying to run the ball because they're going to try and run the ball, and I don't have I was not so bold as to predict it in a specific game, but this is one that I definitely think is less than 50% likely to hit, which therefore kind of makes it fairly bold. I mean, these should all be basically less than 50% likely to hit, but I could see it in any given game. I mean, he hit 270 against Tulsa. It's probably got to be that kind of game where the defense has given up some points. So you've got to keep moving. You got to keep, you got to keep the ball. So, and bad weather is coming. So, maybe this is, this was, Eddie George did it against Illinois during a, 3:30 game, and it was cold and it was windy in November. And, it might be one of those games.
Maybe you see the Ezekiel Elliott against Indiana when it was like he closed the game out with like a 55-yarder, the 65-yarder, then a 75-yarder because Indiana they were annoying and wouldn't go away. So I freely accept that. I won't even say, you know what, I need 315.
Well, I said he tops it, so therefore.
Well, there you go.
If you want to give me 314, I'll say he tops Tim Biakapatuka's 313 yards, but I don't think an audience full of Ohio State fans want to hear about that again.
We don't speak that name. So, okay. All right. You know what? No, I need Henderson 316.
Stone cold.
All right. So my last regular one, and I just realized as I look at them that it's not a double dip, but we'll see what you say. Ronnie Hickman will double his touchdown total from this season currently. So he's got one touchdown. And it's a rarity for a defensive guy to get a touchdown. To me, he feels like he's going to get another one at some point this year. So, but it's rare for defensive guys to get 2 touchdowns in a year, as we know. I can go ahead and, it hasn't happened this year. We know that. Didn't happen last year. Did it? I mean, Jamison Williams only scored twice last year, and that guy's a wide receiver. So what do you expect the defensive guys to do? I know, I think Draymond Jones had 2 touchdowns a couple of years ago. In 2018. Bradley Roby had 2 touchdowns one year.
Malik Hooker had 3?
He's completely different.
Yeah.
And in 2016, he had 3 or 4. And Rashad Berry had 2 in 2017, but that was as a tight end. So I'm saying these are all going to be defensive scores. So at least one more, could be as many as 5. So that increases the boldness.
Here's the thing. Picking any one individual defensive player to score a touchdown in are you saying, I'll tell you what, can we make it in the regular season? So it's 6 more games?
That's right.
Okay, 6 more games. Okay. Picking any one individual player to do it in a 6-game stretch as a defensive touchdown, like that's pretty bold because it doesn't happen that often. So yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
And I said this was 5th, but we actually used one of my other ones. One of my earlier ones as a 2-pointer. So I do have one more that's going to be a regular score.
Okay.
58 receptions would have been enough to lead the team in 3 of the last 4 seasons and 5 of the last 7 seasons. Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson both finished with 58 or more receptions this season.
I mean, they're going to. I mean, they're already on pace to do that.
In the regular season? I don't think
Yes.
they are. Are they?
Yeah, because Garrett Wilson has 31. Chris Olave has 30.
All right. So all three, how about this? All three wide receivers finish with more than 58 or more.
And that's the course of the season?
The course of the season.
So you're saying, because Jackson Smith-Njigba has 23.
He's not. He has 23.
So say 46 at the end of the season. And then over the next 3 games, you're saying he's going to get 12.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also predicting.
It requires all 3 guys to remain healthy, requires the conditions to be sufficient to pass the ball in the back half of the Big Ten schedule.
You throw in Jackson Smith-Njigba, I will allow it because it hasn't happened. With these guys, it should, but even coming into the season, we're like, how does Jackson Smith-Njigba get more than 40 catches this year? Because the other guys are going to command it so much. And yet, it's looking like that will happen. So I will go ahead and allow this, that you threw in the third receiver, because Tom, the backlash, if I wouldn't have stepped in and called you out, would have been enormous. So I'm protecting you there. So you are welcome.
Thank you, as always, for your benevolence, sir, and for first of all allowing me to win last week, and second of all for your benevolence to make this a more challenging prediction on my part. So
you're welcome. You know what? It's if I just let you do what you do every day, you're not going to get any better. And we saw that this week. Last week, you were pretty good. So again,
I praise indeed. Pretty good.
Well, you beat me. That's the highest praise there is. So now we're getting into the bonus points, the bonus predictions here, Tom. Is that correct?
Yes, and we already have one of them because we have the
so yeah, I've got one more free one. Then.
You have one more. We have one more single point one. Yep.
Okay. Then I will go with this, and this is my 3-pointer, but I'll go ahead and I'll reduce it a little. Jack Sawyer will lead the Buckeyes in sacks the rest of the season. In regular season, these last 6 games, Jack Sawyer will lead the team in sacks over the course of those 6 games.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a really.
That's why I had it for bonus, but
I like it. I like that a lot
because he's got 2 on the season.
He's got 2, yeah,
a little bit.
It's not
he's
crazy.
He's going to start playing more. It's not like anybody else is just blowing up. So let's also keep that in mind. Now, Zach Harrison will come back. Tyreek Smith will come back. Zach Harrison is back. Played well last week. He would be an easy answer. This isn't about easy answers. This is about soul searching, coming up with something that is bold, entertains the people, gives them hope for the future. And now me, by myself, I'm giving them hope for the present as well.
One thing that I think will help you on this one, and I'm going to allow it. I think this is a good one. One thing that I think is going to help you on this is Haskell Garrett not being 100% right now. He's at 3.5 in the first half of the season. So, I mean, obviously we're starting from scratch. So if he's a little dinged up or a little slow or misses a game or 2 to start the second half of the season, that goes a long way towards helping you. Yeah, I mean, this is a good one. I mean, you had JT Tuimoloau had 1 in the first half. You could easily see him getting more. Zach Harrison, 2 in the first half. You could see him matching that or exceeding that in the second half of the season. Tyleik Williams at 4 in the first half of the season.
He's due to come down.
He's due to come down. I mean, a lot of that came against Akron, which gets a big asterisk, but I mean, he could have a couple. So you're predicting Sawyer probably to have at least 3 to 4 sacks, which would put him at like 5-6 as a true freshman. That would be quite a freshman season. So yeah, that's
also good. If he finishes it like a half a sack in a game, that counts as 1. And then
you're getting less bold by the minute. Go on.
All right. Yeah, that's okay. We're good there.
Right. So then we have our 2-pointer, which is the Wilson, Olave, and Jackson Smith-Njigba all having 1,000 yards receiving in a single season. My last one, Jesse Mirko goes the entire season, not regular season, entire season without having a touchback on a punt. He has not had a touchback yet this season.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty zesty, isn't it? This is. I wrote this one down and I thought. There was a season when the Mets went 161 games without having a balk. And one of their broadcasters mentioned it in like the 5th inning of, they were about to become the first team in Major League history to go an entire season without a balk. And then like 2 pitches later, a pitcher balked. And it was like this incredible, the internet just exploded as much as the internet can ever explode at the end of a, 71 and 91 Mets season. But yeah, it was one of those you just spoke that into existence. So 100% now, the first punt he has at Memorial Stadium in Indiana is going into the end zone. But Jesse Mirko goes the entire season without having a touchback on a punt. Tony, your thoughts?
I like it because it's minutia and it's dumb.
And what is this? What is this show about? Not just the bold predictions episode. This show in general. What is this show about? There you go.
Now, I would like to know what the touchback numbers have been over the years, and I can't bring that up easily right now. But knowing that it is hard to do that, so I will allow it. But also, I'm not going to take it away. But it's not like Ohio State is going to be punting from the opponent's 40 much to where they would, necessarily be touchbacking it, whichever. But also, Jesse Mirko is one of those Australians that can just do a little pooch and it stops or whatever. So it's happenstance if it happens. And I will allow it. It would be interesting to see to nobody other than you, me, and now the thousands who are invested in this. So yes, I will go with that because nothing infuriates me more in football almost other than everything to do with refs, the touchbacks on the punts.
So the last full season, Drew Chrisman had 8 touchbacks in 2019.
Okay. But that was also his worst season. And
I'm going back through previous seasons right now. He had 1 touchback in 2018 and 2017. He had 2 last year, which was obviously an abbreviated season. And last year, or 2017, he had 4. So
what about the Australian? You can't. I don't care about no American punter.
I will go back further to the Australian punter.
Thank you. Tell me what Cam Johnston did.
Yeah, while you're doing your next one, yes.
Ohio State will beat every Big Ten opponent this year by at least 14 points.
Ooh, spicy.
They've done it so far. They've done it so far. But they don't always do it.
They don't always do it.
It's never happened before.
Cam Johnston had 5 touchbacks in 2016 and 7 touchbacks the year before that. I mean, this is the one, it was like, I got back to the one. I was like, oh, is this insufficiently spicy? 5 the year before that. Yeah. I mean, this is okay. 0 would be a total outlier, complete outlier.
I like it. No, I like it. So good. I'm glad to hear.
And yeah, 14 points. I mean, you've got your difficult games coming up. And I guess this is, I think, a big statement on your part that you don't think that Sean Clifford is going to be healthy for the Ohio State Penn State game. I think that's because that changes the calculus on that one quite a bit. Have they ever done that with 14 points or more in a single season?
Maybe back when Woody Hayes was killing people,
Yeah, but not in modern times, because they had, 2019 they did it, but where they had double digits every game, but the Penn State game was 11, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And are we including the Big Ten championship game in this?
No, just regular season.
Season.
They're gonna destroy Iowa 17-0 easy. So
okay, good. All right. So we were including the Big Ten championship game.
Regular season, because they've never done that. I mean, and I say never. And I only have like 5 or 6 years to go back, but I know it didn't happen in 2012. I know it didn't happen in 2013. They went undefeated in the regular season, but I know they didn't beat everybody that. And I don't have 2014, but I'm pretty sure that was also not a 14 point because there were some close games that year. So yeah, I'll stick in the regular season, and we'll see how things are going. I might be feeling a little froggy there at the end and say, yeah, let's let it roll.
I'll tell you what, you can either have in the regular season. Kidding me? You can either have 15 points in the regular season or 14 points, including the Big Ten championship game. This is for 3 points. This is for 3 points.
Okay. So
15 points in the regular season or 14 points, including the Big Ten championship game.
15 points is too difficult. I think it's easier to beat Iowa by 14 than because there's going to be a 2-touchdown win somewhere on the regular season schedule.
Yes, there is.
And exactly. So, all right, I'll go the entire any Big Ten opponent that wants to step up. You want to throw the playoffs in there? I feel pretty confident that they'll do that in the playoffs too. Also, that they won't face anybody from the Big Ten in the playoffs.
Tony, I want to paint you a word picture here. Just picture it. We're sitting in lovely Lucas Oil Field in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, crap.
It is the clock is ticking down at the very end of the Big Ten championship game. Say 45 seconds to go. The Buckeyes, well, they get comfortable, but not out of range. 14-point lead. Pinned back deep in their end. That difficult Iowa defense. The loud Iowa fans roaring, trying desperately to will their team to a dramatic last-second comeback. Ryan Day looks at the field position, decides, no, we're going to take an intentional safety to improve the situation and just be able to. And Tony, Buckeyes win by 12. And people look at me. Did you see the picture of the photographer on the field at the Buffalo Bills game where he's celebrating in the background of the picture and everyone's talking about how unprofessional it is? At the moment that intentional safety is taken, I will be in the background of one of those pictures making that exact gesture. And Tony, I can't wait.
Or Tom, would it say, not that you would be on the side of the field of a pick six at that point, to an Iowa, would you be part of the pile? Would you be jumping on the, would you get flagged for celebration? Just classless on your part. All right, so that does it, right? We're all done with the.
We're done.
We've got our 3-pointers. I feel pretty good about it. Hopefully, everybody else feels good about it. I know we're going to have to monitor this stuff because there is a lot at stake. Not with this one until the end of. I don't even know what kind of stakes we could add to it. Maybe.
We're going to go to St. Elmo's, so I think we could add literal stakes to it if we wanted to.
It works for me too. So. That will do it for this episode. I want to thank you all for tuning in. As always, feel free to find us at BuckeyeScoop.com. Become a member if you haven't. Thank you if you are. You can also find us all the time at youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop with all of our podcasts, Tom's Morning Scoop, all of our streams, interviews with coaches. Go check out the Kerry Combs. You can just go check out today's Morning Scoop with Tom, and he'll have you covered on that one. That was definitely worth your while. So, thank you all, and we will talk to you later.